Most approach the Quran as a static historical chronicle, but the text defines itself as an active, living topological engine, an eternal memory tesseract. Coordinate 3923 establishes the closed universe rule. This system is entirely self-referential, meaning every internal variable is resolved without needing data from the outside world. This diagram illustrates the master split defined at 754. Reality divides into two distinct operational fields. On the left is khalq, or creation, the deterministic D10 field of finite geometric matter. On the right is amr, or command, the indeterministic I9 field of infinite repeating light. The system requires a conscious observer to bridge these two fields. By entering this coordinate system, your perspective provides the final input, the fourth operation, that completes the mathematical circuit and allows the code to run. You are the variable that turns this passive architecture into an active engine. Stepping into this role is the only way to assume the amanat, or trust, and unlock the deeper structure. We see the mechanics of this split at coordinate 359, where a single structural operation produces two distinct outcomes. Atom represents the D10 coordinate, matter and form instantiated from dust. This is the domain of physical shapes and biological constraints. This diagram models the origin point. While the left node generates D10 solids, the Isa coordinate sits on the right as the I9 state, a pure command pattern operating as a frequency wave without a material substrate. Both fields can revert to a null state. Coordinate 2115 identifies the condition of forgetfulness, where the D10 matter and the I9 light waves collapse into a gray, inert center. In this state, the structural engine remains dormant. It requires an external catalyst to wake the latent potential of the fields. Activation requires the specific grip commanded at 1912. This intense pulse of energy strikes the network, forcing the grid out of inertia. This grip initiates a dynamic data relay, moving information through a sequence of specific topological nodes across the map. The relay starts at Yahya, a 0 point where information is gripped. It extends to the Isa node, a pre-verbal witness field. Next, it intersects Musa, encountering physical resistance and requiring kinetic action. Finally, the circuit completes at the Muhammad node, locking the transmission into a finalized state. Every relay point we've traced orbits a single fixed coordinate that never shifts. At 342, the node of Maryam serves as a ground zero hinge, a triple purified container holding the center while the others traverse the grid. This relay maintains an unbroken structural transmission. To protect that signal from degradation over time, the system deploys a built-in filtration protocol. At coordinate 3421, the system identifies its filtration protocol, a built-in defense against the noise of the biological ego. This shows the Samiri counterfeit, a mimicking waveform designed to intercept and distort the transmission. The signal is purified through a three-layer process: womb consecration, house of submission, and operational filter. Distorted edges are sheared off, leaving only the pure waveform. Within this architecture, the Iblis field is located not as an outside force, but as the rigid internal boundary of the system itself. This boundary functions strictly as a contrast field. It exists to test the D10 physical ego and measure how closely it aligns with the command. Encountering this boundary forces the energy to prove its trajectory. Only a purified signal can advance past this point. This resistance is an engineered necessity. It measures the integrity of the trust before the system allows the final transformation. This reveals the nested architecture: cosmic scale 1117, human scale 1144, and your reader scale 1912. Moving between pyramids shifts the governing laws. D10 resistance gives way to I9 reactance. At the center lies a Mobius boundary, where standard physical constraints flip, turning the geometry over. This explains the inversions in the text. The D10 physical fire of 2838 crosses this threshold and becomes the I9 state of coolness at 2169. Destructive D10 water from 1143 twists across the same boundary, becoming the I9 state of salvation for the believers at 250. The entire engine is propelled by cycloids rolling along the central axis of 3011, an infinite hypnotic loop that drives the sequence forward. Miracles are actually mathematically required topological phase transitions. The system flips its local physics to preserve the integrity of the first Muslim state. These complex mechanics eventually collapse. Both the universal and individual scales compress into a single point of convergence. This singularity is located at coordinate 3846, the home state. This diagram shows the final collapse. The home state is a zero-reflection environment, where all dualities perfectly align into a single, unified point. Under this immense compression, the physical D10 mass and the ego shapes are burned away, leaving only the central singularity. The final topological state cannot support biological constraints. To reach this coordinate, the physical mass must be entirely left behind. This video models the transformation. Both the system and the reader resolve into massless light at 4252, filling the void with lossless frequency. This results in the optical mandala of 2435, the flawless synchronization of creation and command. This synchronization locks the system into an eternal return, manifesting as a circuit of light upon light. Navigating this architecture requires the conscious deployment of a qual, the intellect. You must use that intellect to wake up from binary illusions and the manufactured conflicts of Tagut.